Thank you so much, everyone. Good evening. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the WFP Innovation Accelerator Pitch Event. This is an exciting moment for us. It's our first in-person event in 2 years. It's bootcamp. It is bootcamp number 40 for us since our launch in August 2015. And we are an official side event of the Munich Security Conference. Thank you so much for joining us in person and online from around the world on Zoom. So thank you so much. So let me introduce myself. My name is Hila Cohen. I'm the Chief of Staff at the World Food Program Innovation Accelerator, and it's a pleasure to have here you tonight. So if you're on social media, then you can go on Twitter, you can go on LinkedIn, and you can look for WFP Innovation, and you can use the hashtag Disrupt Hunger. You can tweet about me, you can tweet about the pictures, the most important part of this evening. And we're here because we're part of a very important organization. We're part of the United Nations World Food Program, and we're very proud of it. The operational DNA of our organization, the field excellence of our colleagues, made us the Nobel 2020 Nobel Peace Prize laureates. And here, as part of this evening, I'm representing the WFP Innovation Accelerator. We started our work 6 years ago. We started with a focus on SDG 2, to end hunger by 2030. With time, we've also expanded, and we're focusing on more SDGs now because hunger is interlinked to the rest of the SDGs. One slide, okay. Oh, oops, I'm going a bit, okay, thanks so much. Can we go back? Sorry, with the clicker, I'm going a bit too fast. If I can go back a few slides. Thanks so much. Okay, so just a few words about us. So, you can see that there's a lot of numbers on these slides. What does this mean? So over the last 5.5 years, we've had more than 7,000 applications to our program. This is, as I mentioned, bootcamp number 40. We have funded more than 100 innovations around the world, and we've scaled 16 projects around the world. And as I mentioned, we do not only run the program for WFP, we also run the innovation programs for entities like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And our impact, this is why we're here. In the last year, we doubled our impact, and we've reached more than 8.6 million people around the world. And I want to share this story. This is a story for the pitchers here in the room. This is a story of Jesus. Jesus was in bootcamp number 2. He's a WFP colleague from the Peru country office, and he came with the idea of H2Grow. We had an audience at the time at the pitch event of 3 people. One of them is in the room today. And he started with an idea, a concept that he thought could scale. And he started with the idea, and today we're at bootcamp number 40, as I mentioned. H2Grow has scaled to 21 countries, and actually right now on the app, Share the Meal, there is a campaign where you can give a loan to someone to create their H2Grow system. And I wanted to mention a few scaling projects in our portfolio. There's Sanku, that's scaling from Tanzania now to Kenya. We have the PHL venture. Post-harvest loss is one of the biggest challenges that we deal in with food systems, and this is scaling globally. And we have Share the Meal. I don't know if you have it on your phone. If you don't, download it. It has more than 7 million users around the world. And one very special thing that happened this week was that we were recognized with 2 awards, the Anthem Awards, for our work in the impact sphere. And all of this would not be possible with a network. It's a network of supporters, the donor countries that help us out, our initial supporters, the German government, the Bavarian government, thereafter the US, Luxembourg, and Austria. And of course, we also have a wide network of private sector companies, and we're very grateful for them as well. So I'd like again to welcome you to our pitch event. Hope you have an interesting evening with the 8 teams pitching tonight. They were selected out of 650 applications. So they're the best of the best. And yeah, so thank you so much. And I hope you enjoy the evening. And let me now invite to the stage State Minister Hummel to give us a few words. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Beasley, my ladies and gentlemen, I am delighted to welcome you here today to the World Food Programme's Innovation Pitch Event, enabling innovation for food security and peace. Making this pitch a side event to the Munich Security Conference is a brilliant idea. In this way, you are shifting the focus of international security policy to include an important key challenge. Worldwide peace and freedom also depend on food security. I think it's very important. We must not neglect regions that are affected by conflicts, disasters, and the impact of climate change. This is the responsibility of the global community, especially of countries living in relative prosperity. To this end, with its Africa package launched in 2019, Bavaria has taken steps to promote development in Ethiopia, Tunisia, Senegal, and the South African provinces of Western Cape and Gauteng, among other regions. The COVID-19 pandemic and its economic impact have also increased the number of people suffering from hunger. In view of the rapidly worsening situation in developing countries, creative solutions are needed more than ever. We in Bavaria are therefore very proud that Munich is home of the Innovation Accelerator of the World Food Programme, headed by Mr. Bernhard Kovac. Thanks to Munich's research institutions, top universities, and Bavaria's industries and SMEs, the creative laboratory of the World Food Programme enjoys perfect conditions here. Your success proves you're right. You have already reached 8.6 million people in 69 countries. Compliment. That is really impressive and gives hope for a world without hunger. I think it's really hope. The Free State of Bavaria is therefore happy to support the outstanding work of the Global Innovation Center with an annual sum of €1 million. But we have a common goal, a world without hunger that ensures stability, peace, and basic prosperity for all. We will need a lot of staying power to make this vision, this dream come true. We will continue and intensify our work because every stone thrown into water causes a ripple effect. Every stone. I am therefore looking forward with great interest to the presentation of new concepts by 8 innovative startups and wish us all an inspiring discussion. Welcome today in Munich. Thank you.
Thank you, State Minister, for your very kind and inspiring words. Thank you so much. And now I have the great pleasure to invite the #1 champion of the WFP Innovation Accelerator, the Executive Director of the World Food Program, Mr. David Bleasley.
I don't know of anyone on earth that has a better job than I do. I mean, it's so exciting to see the inspiration that I get from my teams all over the world. And you would think with the crisis that we're facing today, with so much starvation and so much disruption, destabilization of nations, that we would truly get depressed. But we are not giving up on those little girls and those little boys out there who are depending on us. And when we don't have the money that we need, it means we've got to really think outside the box to make certain that we take the money that we do get and all the resources we do get to make it the most efficient, the most effective, the most strategic. Because if we're struggling to feed the world today, imagine 50 years from now. But see, the World Food Program, we have solutions. We do think outside the box. And that is what's so exciting about the Innovation Accelerator. The boot camps over the years, the number of projects, now those that are being scaled up that are impacting millions of people around the world. Well, that's what we're all about. I have people that will say, oh, the UN is so inefficient, ineffective. I said, well, you don't know the World Food Program. Because we know what happens when we save 25 cents. That's a meal for a child. We understand the power of being efficient and effective. So, as I've said before, I'm really not the leader of the Nobel Peace Prize winning World Food Program. I'm the cheerleader. The cheerleader for an amazing team, and this team that's supported not just by the federal government and the Foreign Office, but the Economic and Development Office, but also at the state level, the Free State of Bavaria. The partnerships that we get from all over the world, but a special, special thanks at the federal and the state level for the cooperation we get and the planning and the support of this particular project that's based right here. So, on behalf of the 20,000 or more people that work directly for the World Food Program, thank you for the support that we get. And I hope that we will continue to honor your commitment to us with strategic thinking and effective results, making a difference all over the world. So thank you. I'll turn it over to who's next.
Thank you, Executive Director. Every time you talk with us, it's always inspiring, so thank you so much. So now we will move to the part that everyone's waiting for, the pitches. So let me invite to the stage my colleague, Regina Schmidt, to introduce the teams. Thank you so much, Regina.
Okay. Can you briefly help me to just put that one?
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Good evening. It's such a pleasure. We are here in person. I cannot believe it. I mean, the last in-person event we had 2 years ago, but now we're back again in person, and it's a little bit the new reality. We have a hybrid event, so we have here a round of people sitting in front of me. I see lovely faces. That's just amazing. But on the other hand, we also have the online community. So there are a lot of people which are joining us from all over the world in order to listen to us. So it's good evening, good afternoon for some of you. That's amazing. So what are you going to expect today? We're going to have 8 pitches, and here I was already mentioning those 8 teams had been selected out of more than 650 applications. We've spent quite some time in reviewing the applications, in hand-picking them, and really getting the best of the best. Today we're going to have 5 external startups, ventures from different places all over the world, and 3 great WFP innovation teams. So we're going to have the 8 of them. So now, can somebody click? I just realized I forgot the clicker. Good. So what do you expect? We're going to have 4 pitches through. Then we have the fireside chat with 2 distinguished speakers. And then we have the second half of the pitches. Thank you very much. We're not used to this stuff anymore. And if you're in front of the computer, you just pressed. Anyhow, that's perfect. Good. So how is it going to work? Each pitcher has 3 minutes. So it's short, sharp, to the point, a quick fire. And one of these things a little bit like a speed dating. So you're going to meet 8 different teams. And if you want to connect to those teams, you see here the QR code. Just scan it in. For the people sitting in the room, you have it also on your table. So you can scan it in. Then there's a template if you have any question, idea, recommendation. I mean, if you want to support them financially, I think they also will take it. Whatever you do, you can do it. So just scan it in, write which name you have any idea about. Good. Then I would start. Are you ready? Yes. Yes, no. Are you ready? Yes. Wow, now we're getting there. So you're ready, and I'm very pleased to welcome the first speaker on stage, Yannick Nieberg. He is the founder and CDO from Seawater Solutions. And that's one initiative together with our country office in Bangladesh. Yannick, the stage is yours.
I think I need the, Regina, I need the clicker. Yeah, all right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Yannick Nieberg. I'm the founder and director of Seawater Solutions, an agri-environmental company turning deserts into productive ecosystems using seawater. Like many of you, I started my career in international development. I spent years in South Asia and Sub-Saharan Africa, where I began to notice a problem that we hardly ever talk about: salt. Now, most of us know that salt is a detriment to food production. We look at Bangladesh, where I've just flown in from, and we see the threats of rising seas and coastal flooding that has on farming. But this is not just in our coastlines. Almost 2 billion people around the world are threatened by this. That's forcing millions of farmers off their land every year, both coastal and inland. And as we began to study this problem and potential solutions, we came across an unlikely opportunity in coastal wetlands, like mangrove forests, seagrass meadows, and salt marshes that represent an important tool in our fight against climate change. They take in 30 times more carbon than tropical rainforests. They support biodiversity and can even feed us with salt water. And so we began to build wetland farms in 2018 to help farmers adapt to climate change and to grow food with salt water. And initial success on a smallholder level led us to develop a model on an ecosystem level that mimic large-scale ecosystems that produce an incredible array of products, from aquacultures to saline crops, and a massive amount of carbon. And initial results were staggering. In earlier iterations, we saw an incredible 1,000% increase in biodiversity over 2 years, and productive yields 3 to 4 times that of rice or wheat, for example. So fast forward to 2021, and we've launched operations around the world with over 500 beneficiaries and users. And our model really rests on public-private sector partnerships, like with WFP and government institutions in Bangladesh. And in Ghana, for instance, we turned a 1-year DFID-funded project for women empowerment in agriculture into a commercially viable operation in under a year without the need for follow-on donor funds. So how's this possible? Well, we use initial development projects to build local capacity and engage with stakeholders to the point that we can bring in private sector carbon funders that finance both the carbon side, but also the community livelihoods activities. And this long-term revenue model allows us to then build local and international market capacity over the following years. So having proven this model, now it's time to scale, and we call on partners like WFP to help us make introductions to country-level teams, and also invite the private sector to engage with us through carbon finance and offset opportunities. At the heart of what we do at Seawater Solution really is the belief that conservation and livelihoods are fundamentally tied together. By addressing ecosystem benefits through social governance and livelihoods opportunities and frameworks, we can tie restoration to the economic prosperity of the communities at the front lines of climate change. Thank you very much.
Yannick, this was a great start. Thank you very much. I think the increasing salinization is a huge problem, and I really have to say Seawater Solutions is very impactful to create a productive ecosystem. And I mean, you've seen it. I mean, they are not only tackling like the SDG 2, where you have zero hunger, but it's also around clean water. It's about poverty stop. It's about change climate. So I think that's very powerful. So I'm very excited to see what is coming out of the pilot in Bangladesh. Now we are moving to the next picture, and the next picture will be, and we are a hybrid event. Which means we have on the one hand people here on stage, 5 of the pictures are on stage, and we have, let's say, people remotely. So the next picture is Anirudh Keni, and he is from the team from Bhumitra. He's located in India. He's going to join us live. That's amazing. And they are working with the WFP unit of climate and disaster risk reduction programs. And I'm very curious to see what he's going to present us. Anirudh, over to you.
Thank you, Regina. Climate change is here. We're slated to hit a 2-degree rise over the next 2.5 decades. At the same time, 75% of the world's soils are degraded, and farmers around the world are struggling to provide for their families while creating major food security issues for the countries that they reside in. Meet such a farmer, Kavemba, from the Makueni County in Kenya. Despite having one of the lowest carbon footprints in the world, she and her family will be the most affected due to the effects of climate change. And with only $5 of disposable income on a monthly basis, she does not have the tools to adapt to the coming changes. Bhumitra, which in Sanskrit translates to friend of the earth, is an organization which aims to empower the 680 million smallholder farmers across the world by providing them access to proprietary AI and by making carbon markets more inclusive. The ecosystem that Bhumitra is creating will help farmers not only adapt to, but as well as mitigate the effects of climate change. Bhumitra does this by partnering with farmers and organizations like the Farm to Market Alliance and enables them to adopt improved agricultural practices which lead to an increase in soil fertility and soil carbon. Bhumitra then quantifies these increases in soil carbon using its proprietary artificial intelligence and remote sensing capabilities to verified carbon credits, which are sold to Fortune organizations with net zero targets. A vast majority, almost 75% of the credit value is transferred back to the farmers and the local communities. Through pilots conducted by Bhumitra with the Farm to Market Alliance, we see that conservatively $30 million a year could be provided back to the community while increasing yields, of course. At the same time, 3 million tons of carbon could be sequestered in farmlands, creating a unique opportunity to adapt as well as mitigate the effects of climate change. Currently, we are spread over 3 million acres, positively impacting the lives of more than 100,000 smallholder farmers and removing 5 million tons of carbon from the atmosphere. We request the World Food Programme to provide us access to the smallholder farmers and scale our projects through your expertise in farmer behavior change. We'd also request you to share our solution among corporate networks so that they see soil carbon as a viable offset with far-reaching co-benefits. Finally, the voluntary carbon market is set to hit $50 billion by the end of this decade. help us provide a huge chunk of this finance to farmers like Kavemba in Kenya, India, Ethiopia, Malawi, and many, many more such countries, providing food security to their families and countries as well. I thank you so much for your time today.
Anu, this was an amazing pitch, and I think you really deserve now a nice evening. So thank you very much for joining us live at that late hour. Now, I mean, the problem that Bhumitra is tackling is quite huge. I mean, we're all aware that 75% of the Earth's soil is degraded. Global carbon emissions are rising, which means that if you can find with new technology a marketplace to incentivize and reward farmers, big smallholder farmers, in order really to change the way of doing agriculture, I think that's just amazing. So great idea, and I'm curious to see how it's going on. Now we are having the next in-person pitcher here, and I'm asking Tatiana on stage. So Tatiana Kuznetsova, she's from one team from the headquarters, from the CBT cash-based transfer team from WFP. Tatiana, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Regina. Good evening. My name is Tatiana. I'm one of the WFP Data Services team members. Our team works to ensure that vulnerable people get the money they need. One of those people is Kisimba. She lives in the Democratic Republic of Congo, but far from the place she calls home after being displaced by conflict. With the cash WFP gives her, she's buying items and services that her family needs when they need them from wherever she chooses. But people like Kisimba are dependent on the infrastructure and people behind it. WFP staff around the world works tirelessly to ensure that the right people get the right money at the right time. Now, we are increasing the number of transactions that we're having every year. With pandemic, climate change, conflicts, we're transferring right now record high $2.3 billion to over 36 million people in over than 69 countries. That's a lot of transactions to verify. It's more important than ever that we ensure every donor, dollar, euro, yen reaches the people it is destined for on time. Our team of data analysts and scientists has a solution, DARTS, that could address many of these challenges. The application would work offline in the most remote and challenging locations. By analyzing the provided data, it could detect if and when anyone has not received cash assistance on time. What if the card was misused? DARTS could automatically identify many anomalies using statistical and machine learning methods. Imagine how the banks operate in Syria and Ethiopia. Do you think they function in a similar way? Are the national IDs in Haiti and Sudan the same? No, of course they're not. They're all different. Each country has its own operations, but DARTS would simplify and unify how we analyze them, improving our credibility and showing to donors that their funds are going to the right people at the right time. Our team has already applied all these techniques, and we have already started to build a prototype. But we need pro bono support on UI and machine learning to provide users with more advanced features and help them achieve more with less effort. With $100,000 investment, we plan to roll out a simple DARTS version to automate basic assurance controls in at least one country within 6 months. With $1 million, we could have even more controls and make the user experience even simpler so that it can be adopted in many more contexts and scaled up to over 10 countries within 2 years. To make sure that families like Kisimba always get the right amount of money on time. Thank you.
Perfect. You can come. Thank you very much, Tatiana. That was very interesting. And I just want to explain you a little bit. There are different ways how WFP is assisting beneficiaries. So we have in-kind distribution, but we also have cash-based transfers. And cash-based transfers is definitely growing. Why is it growing? I think What we would like to give the people is choice and empowerment, but we also would like to strengthen the local economies, the retailers, the wholesalers, the people working in the markets. So that's really the idea behind. And you have learned from Tatiana already, 36 million people have received cash transfers last year. That's a huge amount of data. So we really need tools to help to give the right amount of money to the right people in the right place. Okay, perfect. So we are moving to the fourth picture. And I feel we have everything. So we have online pictures, we have live pictures virtually, and we have a video. Michael, he's from the team Impact AI, and he's from it's an internal WFP team from Geospatial Headquarter Unit, and they are working together with DLR, the German Aerospace Center. He's based in Philippines. It's very late. He had a lot of connectivity issues, and that's why now we're going to see a very nice video. So let's go on to the video.
Hello everyone. My name is Michael and I work for WFP Emergency Operations Division, and I am from the Philippines, one of the most disaster-prone countries around the world. Over the last 5 decades, the frequency, economic impact and damages caused by disasters to infrastructures have grown 4 times, affecting livelihoods and killing at least 2 million people in the last 50 years. WFP, as a humanitarian organization, we always make sure we prepare enough for a disaster. However, due to the disorderly and complex situation during an emergency, it usually takes 3 weeks, sometimes more, to make an assessment of the affected population. Impact AI can potentially shorten this time by combining data preparedness and utilize artificial intelligence for automated disaster impact analysis. The application of AI on satellite images has already been proven to be useful, robust, and performs faster than a human. Aid organizations like WFP can leverage on these technologies to support our emergency food distribution, logistics, and recovery activities. So our challenge is, how do we make sure AI will perform better for future disasters? Well, the short answer is, we need a data preparedness exercise which will require massive manpower to annotate and label damaged infrastructures seen by satellite images taken from space. Our proposed solution will engage hundreds and even thousands of WFP beneficiaries like refugees, out-of-school youths, single parents, through the creation of income-generating digital jobs we call image annotation. As a result, this massive data annotated by our beneficiaries will enable AI technology to perform better in predicting infrastructure damages for similar future events more accurately, because AI would have already learned from similar historical events through the annotated data that we will collect. Impact AI will be a concrete demonstration to making sure our beneficiaries are part of the inclusive solution to serve the most vulnerable community. This is a clear example of WFP's saving lives and changing lives, but this time it's the other way around. We plan to change lives first so we can save lives later. Finally, we need your support to achieve this goal through partnership, technical guidance for scaling up our solution, and through your donations. This will help us in start preparing to future disasters that will come along our way. Thank you very much.
This is a very impactful solution. And Michael was explaining it. The mission of WFP is to save lives, but also to change life, which means whenever there's a natural disaster, the organization is ready to go. And time is just a critical thing in an emergency situation. So to use artificial intelligence, really new technologies, in order to speed up, to get transparency, where are damages and how we can serve there, I think that's very, very powerful. Wow, and that was already like the first round of the pitch. I mean, just time is flying. We are having now a fireside chat, and I'm handing back to my colleague Hila. So Hila, over to you.
Hi, everyone. Good to see everyone. Hope you're having a nice time. So now we will have a fireside chat, and I have the pleasure to invite two guests on stage. So first of all, I'd like to invite Ms. Leonie Werk, Deputy Director Nutrition at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Please join me on stage. And second, I'd like to invite Dr. Tobias Linder, Minister of State, German Federal Foreign Office. Please join me. Thank you so much. Denise, can we have 2 microphones, please, for the speakers? Thanks so much. As you can see, we haven't done an in-person event in 2 years, so it's all natural. So thanks so much. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. We're seeing a lot of innovations linked to ending global hunger, and that will be the theme of our conversation tonight. So I will share with you what we'll do is we'll have 2 rounds of questions. So the first one will be I'll address a question to both of you, and then in the second round we'll go a bit of a pitch event style, and we'll do a light round where I'll ask you to respond in a very brief answer. So let's start with the first question. So, dear Minister, Germany is considered a leader in the innovation space. So from your experience, how can we make innovation in the humanitarian system grow even further? And why is it important for Germany to invest in innovation?
Thank you so much, and thank you for making this possible. First of all, I want to emphasize that the World Food Programme is one of our most important partners when it comes to humanitarian aid for the Federal Foreign Office. We high value the work of the WFP, and you do unique things here with the Innovation Accelerator in this innovation space. I think there are good reasons for doing this. And the first reason is we have seen the demands are growing. And we can do a lot of funding, and funding will also be necessary in the future. But if we do funding alone, we cannot catch up. We cannot catch up. We have to spend our money better, more effectively. That means, as it was said before, we have to see, okay, where are dollars or euros most necessary? That's one issue. The other issue is what we like to call preventive humanitarian aid in the Federal Foreign Office. That will be one of our priorities in the new German administration. So with technologies out of AI and other things, to forecast, okay, where is the demand, how to spend it more effectively, and how can we encourage people and give them the ability to help them more on their own. So it's not just delivering food, it's like establishing conditions for growing plants, for instance. There are great projects out of this innovator. And let me say one more thing, because usually when you ask government authorities, you always have to comply with the law, and you have to evaluate, okay, how is the money spent, and all those things. If we want to have a better environment for innovation, we need a different culture. We need a culture that allows failure, that allows testing, that allows changing our own minds. Usually politicians are trained to, I'm always right, and I was always right, and I've never ever changed my mind. We need to change and to overcome that culture, really, to bring innovation into the field.
Thank you so much. And can I ask just a short follow-up question? What is Germany's vision in terms of innovation in the upcoming years?
So our vision is to, especially when it comes to humanitarian aid, to spend more on preventive, on anticipatory humanitarian aid, really to have a new emphasis on that. A modern foreign policy and a modern diplomatic service also requires that we use more big data and AI in our own methods. It's not replacing the people or replacing diplomats. That's not the case. But the idea is really to use innovation in the end to spend our money more effectively and to help, therefore, more people.
These are, so to everyone who's listening online and in the room, these are such important words. And if you have any type of preventive innovations, maybe apply to the accelerator on innovation.wfp.org. Maybe you'll find a home to test your innovation. So now we'll move to Ms. Werk. So first of all, we're very happy with our ongoing collaboration with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. It's a relationship that we've had for a number of years, and it's blooming and developing into new spheres all the time. So you're a nutrition expert. So I wanted, Deputy Director, so yes. Can you tell us how you see the future of innovation in your realm of work of nutrition? What are the trends that you are seeing in the horizon?
Yeah, thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. Is this working? Yeah, I hope so. This is an amazing event, and I think really also very inspirational in style. And as you've said, we have very close ties in collaboration. We particularly use the WFP Innovation Accelerator for scaling up some of the nutrition social businesses. So this is wonderful. We are a social impact investor, and we are a risk investor. And our portfolio predominantly focuses on investments that have a very high return of investment. So that's basically what we track. And our focus in nutrition, for example, is staple food fortification. You all might know salt iodization. It has a 27-to-1 return of investment. So $1 invested generates $27 of economic return. Obviously, we place also nutrition at the nexus to food and health systems. And for example, in agriculture, I can give you a very concrete example. We invest into digital advisory services for smallholder farmers in order to give them exact data on how the climate crisis will affect them. And that also has a 24-to-1 return of investment. So that's a strong portfolio of us. And if you ask me about potentials for innovation in nutrition, it's certainly product innovation. So R&D, a major focus, and then also really systems innovation and PPP. So seconding the state minister, how can we make the public sector also the friend of the private sector? Yes, it's always controversial if you integrate the private sector into development. But how can we make multi-stakeholder networks meaningful? And then obviously, how can we use digitization to accelerate that? So again, turning to food fortification as an intervention. It's a value chain approach. And we are, for example, high opportunity, high risk, trying to digitize this entire value chain. Last but not least, I would also strongly highlight that obviously for digitization as an innovation, you do need IT skills and you need more. You need an open mindset, so social, emotional skills, and you need to be extremely creative in new concepts. And you also have to be aware. So equity for us is another very important theme when it comes to digitization projects, because if you have an issue with discrimination, you might easily program that into any digital solution. So we are very much trying to also empower women in digitization whenever we fund digitization projects. Thanks.
Thank you so much for many of these comments. I think also for everyone listening outside, I think what is very nice to hear, but also interesting to hear for impact innovators, is the focus on numbers. So I think this is a trend we'll see continuously, understanding what is the return on investment. So as you also apply to us to the accelerator in the future and the teams pitching tonight, I think it's something really to take to heart. And also what you mentioned about the importance of equity and digital is so important, that we have inclusive systems. So thank you so much for those comments. So now we'll move to the lightning round. So you're going to give me very brief responses to the following question. So what advice would you give to these 8 innovators tonight? So you have seen, probably the both of you have seen all kinds of pitches in the past or innovators. So what advice do you give to teams like we have here tonight?
My advice would be bring solutions from the lab to the field very fast. That's the best way to convince also the public and the public sector to invest.
That was super quick. Amazing. Over to you.
Be bold, always ask for advice, and make the public sector your friend. So that's a
amazing. So thank you so much to both of you. This was a very brief and exciting fireside chat, and the best of luck to the 4 remaining pitchers. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was very interesting, and I liked the lightning round at the very end, and I really think our innovators today really try to do what you're recommending. So we are giving them the possibility to test in the fields. That's one of the requirements that our sprints are having, like where can we give them the opportunity, but also really to be bold and look for advice. I think these were very good recommendations. Yeah, so before we move to the next pitches, I would like to invite you to see a video. It's an inside video. And let me briefly explain one thing. So the teams that you have seen today, or you're gonna to see, they have been part of the WFP Innovation Bootcamp last week. So that was our 40th bootcamp. That's 1 week of innovation training where we, let's say, educate them with plenary sessions, mentor sessions on different topics. It's around lean startup, human-centered design, growth, scaling, so very different topics, and we support them to further evolve their solution. Once they are ready, they have the opportunity to apply for the sprint program. And the sprint program is quite attractive for many founders. That's why we get really quite a lot of applications, because it's a 6 months program. They get up to $100,000 of funds, but, and that's more importantly, they get the opportunity to test and pilot with one of our country offices. So we have 89 country offices, in one of our regions or with one of our headquarter unit. And that's really where they can go test in the field and can learn how the solution is working, what's the traction, how to further improve. So I'm going to invite you now to one video, and the team is called Grassroots Economics. They also had been in one of the boot camps, and they are now part of the sprint program. The project is located in Kenya, and it is called Community Inclusion Currency. Let's start the video.
Yeah, I like Sarafu because some people are coming with, they have no money. And I said, let me give you maybe 500 Sarafu and then the rest some money. It is better to me. Yeah, it is nice.
It helps a lot because sometimes my money is not enough to acquire the product. And when someone is rolling Sarafu, then I can supplement that.
Tunaipenda kwa sababu kuna kama hotelini aweza kununua kwa sarafu, ama hapa tunkuja tutaka mafuta tununua kwa sarafu.
I was already wondering if you didn't want to give any applause. No, but it's very exciting. I mean, how they try to disrupt hunger by financial inclusion. So they really create a currency on a community level. So there are several trials out of that, but that one is really quite exciting. Good. Are you ready to go on? Yes, yes. Then let's go on the second round, and I see already the pitchers queuing up. The next pitcher I'm going to welcome on stage is Frederik de Kroon, and she's from the project Timely Logistics. This is an internal project from the country office from Nepal, who is working with the Dutch company Deltares. Frederik, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Regina. Good evening, and well, I must say I'm very happy to be here. I'm Frederik de Groen from the Timely Logistics team. Imagine using Google Maps, I think you all have used it, to navigate to the hospital. It's very easy, right? But imagine the same thing during a natural disaster. This photo was taken during the 2015 earthquake in Nepal, which affected around 1/3 of the population. With road disruptions like this, a part of the population is cut off from essential services, like the hospital, for example, but also from markets. And these type of hazards, also flooding and landslides, are only expected to increase in number and intensity due to climate change. And not only people, they cannot reach essential services, but also organizations like the World Food Programme, they cannot reach those most in need. During natural disasters, responders have to answer 3 questions: where, who, and how many. They need to know where to go first and what to take with them. An understanding of transport logistics is essential to answer these 3 questions. Our solution is a network assessment tool embedded in emergency operations. The tool has been applied in planning projects in over 10 countries worldwide. It can handle any type of hazard data, and with that data, the tool, like the hazard data also from Impact AI, maybe to link, with that data, it can determine which points of interest, like hospitals, for example, are accessible, which roads are disrupted, and where the affected population is located. Our solution is versatile because it can be used for multiple purposes, for preparedness and training, but also during the direct aftermath of a disaster. It's flexible, for example, if new information from field officers comes in, they can enter it into the tool and rerun the analysis within minutes. And it's also scalable to any other part of the world. Starting with a pilot in Nepal, we combine the best local knowledge of WFP Nepal and Deltares with the technical expertise for the best possible solution. And our solution made for and with WFP will help support better preparedness, provide a faster response, and ultimately lead to more lives saved. After the solution has proven successful, we plan to scale up to other countries, together working with local responders. Well, I hope, and we hope as a team, that you are as convinced as we are about our solution. However, along the way, lots of different components can be improved. So we invite you to think along with us with how you can help us help those first responders. Of course, financial means, they're always nice to have, but we are also looking for long-term collaborations to co-develop and apply our solution for the best use possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Frederik. Now, I mean, that's another case from the emergency response, and we've spoken about that. It's very important to understand where the help is needed and how to get there. So this network assessment tool, I think it's just amazing. It can help you to train in order to prepare, but also in the case of the situation. Yeah, great. And now we are moving to our next pitcher, who is joining us remotely. It's Boris Kouassi. He's in the Ivory Coast, and he's going to join from the project in Ignatia, and they are cooperating with the country office in Mali. Boris, over to you.
Thank you. Agriculture is the backbone of Africa's economy and accounts for the majority of livelihood across the continent. In sub-Saharan Africa, 96% of cultivated land is rain-fed, which increases the vulnerability of farmers to changing precipitation patterns and extreme weather. It is therefore important to mitigate the weather-related risk by helping farmers with appropriate information. This is what Ignatia does when providing farmers with highly accurate weather forecasts specifically designed for the tropics. Ignatia's model is 30 times granular and 2 times accurate than the global model. Why is it important to have an accurate weather forecast? Almost all farming activities are weather dependent. And with the right weather information, the farmer can select the best variety, can plan the sowing, the weeding, the chemical and fertilizer application under the ideal conditions, leading to higher yields, higher quality of harvest, and higher profit. Concretely, what is our value proposition? Ignatia has 3 main products designed on a human-centered and scalable approach. The first one is ISCA, which provides to farmers a daily 48-hour rainfall forecast delivered via SMS. The second one is a platform called Ojo, which is geared to extension agents and which provides agricultural advisories. And the third one is a Weaver API to be integrated to the existing decision-making supports. And this product is intended to agribusiness companies. So what is our impact? Over 2 million of farmers across West Africa are benefiting from Ignatia weather forecast. And 94% of the farmers receiving our forecast have improved the yield and also improved the revenue by $476. So what is our goal in the future? In the future, Ignatia's plan to reach 200 million of farmers along the tropics. And to reach this goal, we need the support of all agricultural value chain players acting in the tropics. Thank you for your attention.
So I'm very convinced. They convinced already me. Good. Now we're moving to Latin America. And I would like to remind all of you, we're going to have now a speech in Spanish language. I don't know if you have picked up you have it, some of you, I see it already. So you can have Spanish translation. Also, everybody in the online community, you can just click on the bottom right. Normally, you can change the languages. Channel 1 is English. So channel 1 is English. Just put your earphones on, and then you can have the nice speech of my next pitcher, David Medina from the Bangalimentos project. This is a project from Colombia with our country office.
Thank you.
David, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me doing this speech in my native, in Spanish. But mi nombre es David Medina de Bangalimentos en Colombia y no sé si les pasó en algún momento, pero cuando yo era niño mi mamá me enviaba a la tienda a pedir fiado o a crédito alimentos porque no teníamos cómo comprarlos para hacer el desayuno o el almuerzo. Bueno, esta realidad se esconden más de 25 millones de personas en Colombia, quienes padecen de inseguridad alimentaria día tras día. Bueno, pero les voy a comentar otro problema que quizás a simple vista no esté relacionado. Y es que de los más de 12 millones de toneladas de residuos que producimos anualmente en Colombia, tan solo el 17% es reciclado, en comparación con nuestro país anfitrión, Alemania, que recicla el 68%. A continuación les voy a presentar la mujer que relacionó estos dos problemas y creó una solución para abordarlos. Ella es Olga Bocarejo. una mujer campesina de 40 años, quien vio en estos dos problemas la oportunidad para crear una plataforma colaborativa en la cual nos centramos en la seguridad alimentaria de nuestros usuarios a cambio de sus residuos, a cambio de botellas, de plástico, de cartón, de lo que tengan en sus casas. Y es que Olga le dio valor a estos elementos, creando una moneda como el euro o como el dólar, la hemos llamado el waste, capaz de abordar el hambre y al mismo tiempo disminuir la contaminación y lograr un impacto positivo en el medio ambiente. Pero, ¿cómo logramos esto? Lo hacemos como un banco. Somos el banco Bangalimentos y tenemos 3 productos. Cuentas de ahorro alimenticio donde usted puede llevar sus residuos y progresivamente obtener alimentos. O también, si no tiene los suficientes residuos, en este momento puede pedir un crédito alimenticio, el cual también progresivamente lo puede pagar con residuos. Pero también el más innovador, a mi parecer, es seguros alimenticios. En caso de muerte o incapacidad permanente o temporal, usted o su familia puede acceder a seguridad alimentaria pagando este seguro con residuos, con botellas, con cartón, con plástico. Y es que durante más de 6 años, estos 3 productos han apoyado a más de 12,000 usuarios, especialmente mujeres y niñas campesinas, quienes nos han entregado más de 2.880 toneladas de residuos. A cambio, les hemos entregado más de 2 millones de productos alimenticios. Y es que esto lo hemos hecho con colaboradores de impacto local e internacional, pero es el momento que hacemos el llamado al mayor trabajador por acabar el hambre y es al World Food Program y sus aliados. Y es que con $100,000 en 6 meses lograremos impactar a 21,000 personas guayú, de la indígena guayú en La Guajira, en Colombia, migrantes de Venezuela y locales, quienes el World Food Program le entregará más de 2.556 toneladas de alimento. De estos saldrán 386 toneladas de residuo y nosotros les entregaremos más de 30 toneladas de alimentos, más los residuos que produzcan de los alimentos que ellos compren adicional. Este es nuestro llamado para que se unan a acabar el hambre con los residuos. Gracias.
Bueno, muchas gracias, David. Thank you very much. I think this concept of an integral food bank is quite smart, because on the one hand, they are trying really to motivate the people to consign solid and organic waste. And on the other hand, they are providing them with financial inclusion. So I think they really try to tackle 2 very different topics. And I think that's really amazing. Good, we are nearly at the end, and I'm looking at our last picture. Last but not least, I'm very happy to welcome Claire Baker on stage. She is from the Toothpick Project, and the Toothpick Project, they are cooperating with the Farm to Market Alliance from WFP in Kenya. Claire, the stage is yours.
Thank you. The Toothpick Project is tackling both hunger and greenhouse gas emissions created by pesticides. That purple flower you can see over there is called striga, or witchweed. It's a parasitic invasive weed that attacks the roots of staple crops like maize, sorghum, and millet. If a farmer has that weed on her farm, she'll lose 20 to up to 100% of her crop yield. Striga is on 40 million farms across sub-Saharan Africa. It is considered the worst pest threat to food security. There are some other solutions, but obviously, Striga is getting worse every year. None of these are adequate. So we're using a biological solution for a biological problem. This get a little high-tech science for about 20 seconds here. We use Fusarium oxysporum, which is a pathogen on Striga. It's very host-specific. In the native form, it only kills about 40% of Striga, or even just wilts it. But what we've done is we've selected for specific amino acids that kill the Striga, but not the crop. And these are our game changer innovation here. We conducted proof of concept trials, thanks to the Gates Foundation, in 2014 and 2015 on 500 farms, so it was extensive. And we saw an increase of crop yield by 56.5%. It's pretty outstanding. You can see like the difference between the control and the treated cobs. Or you can see here, Jeffrey's hand is way high for the main crop, and then the Striga infected crop down below is wilted and it's going to get bad after a couple weeks after this. We went through, after the proof of concept trials, through regulatory processes. This was a long, extensive process, 5 years, and I'm really happy to say that we just got our commercial registration in November 2021, so just a few months ago. We created a simple deployment system specifically for small-scale farmers. So this is why we're called the Toothpick Project. It's a weird name. We grow the fungal strains on toothpicks. Then we, at the village level, a village inoculum producer will cook a pot of rice, put the toothpicks in there. After a few days, all of that rice will be covered with the inoculum. And then the farmer simply plants a pinch of that with each of her maize seeds as she's planting her field, and that wipes out the Striga. So we have three main areas of impact that we're looking at: farmer productivity, supporting the village economy through that local manufacturing system, and we're also looking at ourselves as an environmental model for bioherbicides globally. We're hoping to reach 100,000 farmers to reach scale by 2025 in Kenya, and this is through partnerships with the Hungerhilfe, Farm to Market Alliance, and Plant Village. And as we are reaching scale, we're seeking $500,000 in Kenya. We're also seeking partners for on-the-ground partnerships as we're seeking farmer groups and other inputs. And maybe looking at a larger scale, we are looking for harmonization of regulatory control systems so that we can expand into other countries across Africa more rapidly. Other weeds, other countries as well. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Claire. I think that was an amazing last pitch. And I think we've spoken about different projects today. We had projects from the emergency response. This is a very nice project from more the development sector. But if we really could manage to reduce the crop losses, we could increase the income of the farmers. So Striga or witchweed is just a big threat for a lot of smallholder farmers. So to find a biological solution for a biological problem, I think that's amazing. So I'm really crossing the finger that's going to work. Perfect. These were the 8 pitches, and yeah. Can you go to the next slide? So I'm sure you're now sitting here and you are in the online community and you ask yourself, I really want to get in touch with those teams. Once again, scan the code. Then you have the 8 teams. For each of the teams, you can write whatever you want. If you have any question or recommendation, if you think about a partnership, if you have an idea, they are very open. If you want to connect with them in person, just write there, give your mail address, and then we are very, very happy to connect them with you. I'm sure you have a lot of ideas on how to support those marvelous teams. So please don't hesitate. The online community, you have a link in the chat. So just click also here straight to the template. Good. My cuts are getting fewer. Because this is the moment where I really would like to say thank you. And I would like to thank you different people. I mean, first of all, the amazing pitchers and the teams. Woo! I mean, it's amazing. I mean, I love the passion, the enthusiasm, really the dedication of each of the teams, and the extra mile they went, just amazing. So thanks a lot for all of them. The second one, I would like to thank all the mentors who have supported this bootcamp and the sprint programs and who are really supporting us along the way, and also our donors. I mean, without their help, we couldn't do that. And particularly the mentors, there are so many people who do this pro bono to support us, give their advice, their expertise. The teams can learn from them. I mean, that's just amazing. And last but not least, and I'm so happy. You cannot believe how the rehearsal was today. It was a nightmare. I was like, we will never have the guys on stage and the video is not gonna to work. And I think it was so smooth. It was so smooth. Woo! So it was such a smooth experience, but there's a huge team behind the scenes. You're just seeing the ones in front of me, in front of there, but I mean, there's so many people behind, from partnerships, communications, event management. Each time, I'm not saying the name because each time I'm forgetting somebody, but there are a lot of people who are very diligent, who are very motivated to support us. Thanks a lot to all of them. Yes, last slide. If you want to you stay connected with us, I think we have already shown it before. So we're on Twitter, we're on LinkedIn. There's a marvelous homepage that we have with a lot of content about our innovations, but also what we can do in order to disrupt hunger. Yes, it's my next point, don't worry. No. So if you want to stay connected with us, a lot of opportunities. Follow us on Twitter, on LinkedIn. And now is the moment to take a picture. Can I kindly ask all the pictures on stage, the speakers, if you would like to come to us, and also the Fireside panelists. Do you want to join us? Can you tell me, can we take off the mask? No. Okay. Then please, everybody with the mask, I'm going to also get mine. Just one, yeah. Good. Perfect, very nice. Everybody who had been on stage, let's come together. And where's the applause? Hey! Okay, thank you very much. And now it's the moment to say goodbye, particularly to our online community. It was so nice to have you everybody with us to join this event. Thank you very much for all the interaction. And yeah, and this is now the end of the online event.